Chapter 5. We should talk to Maxamillion's wife. I filled the silence in the car with the idea. Maybe she knows something, or can help. Mariah considered it, and decided it was fine. Good idea. Shall we find her tonight? No! Alison shook her head like she was having a seizure. She almost dropped the large Ziploc bag of lemon cake she had taken with her. We have Cleveland Dating Week tonight. I was already exhausted. Are you serious? What's tonight? It's a mixer and a special speaker. It's on the app. Alison pulled up the app on her phone. Why does every event in business need its own app? Do they think my phone had unlimited storage? And why would I download an app that I wouldn't even need by next week? Mariah questioned the concept. A speaker? Like a lecturer? Is someone going to tell us how much of a loser we are for participating in this week? The speaker is Dr. Whom? Alison said, pronouncing Dr. Whom's name carefully out of respect. This speech is called Modern Love, How It's Becoming Harder to Find Love. I don't need a speech on that, I sighed. That's just my life. Didn't you find that cute guy? Alison reminded me. Have you even texted him? I had wanted to text him, but who had the time? Not yet. I was trying to quickly find a caveat, but I will. You will text him at the same time Russia stops being a little bitch, Alison said with a roll of her eyes. Now, we gotta go home and get ready. I don't care if it's a mixer and a speech. I need to look like $1,000. Tonight's venue was at the Cleveland Convention Center, located in the heart of downtown Cleveland. Ubers and Lyfts were dropping off some of the more rich singles, while people like Mariah, Alison, and I walked 10 blocks so we could get free downtown parking. I love this convention center. Alison sounded like a grandmother musing about her children. Why? Mariah cross-examined. It's just a building. I have so many memories here. I can't believe I was feeding the stray cat. Memories? Like what? Can't you both just let me have this? Alison blew up a bit before huffing and puffing to speedily walk ahead of us. She was wearing a bright yellow dress and a white feather boa, which made her look like a humanized sister to Big Bird. I was worried that Jonah wasn't going to be here today, or that he might be here, but be more interested in someone else. We could be trying to find Jenna, but instead, we're gonna watch a speaker. Can there be anything more exhausting? Imagine it being 2 speakers, Mariah pointed out. Huh, seriously, that would be much worse. Get over yourself. I could tell it's your anxiety speaking. Since when have you been that pressed to solve a crime? We entered the Cleveland Convention Center to find that Alison had been stopped by the security guards. What do you mean I can't bring a gun in here? Alison asked, holding up her gun, in which could be taken as threatening action. Richard is family. Haven't you seen the Fast and Furious? It's all about family with those guns. Mariah and I pretended not to notice and snuck inside. The convention center was strategically built underground, so as not to burden the downtown with another concrete building. The lower building was filled with an open bar, plenty of snacks, and a ton of cocktail tables, all with signs which read things like, I love the outdoors, I love art, I love traveling. I was initially confused, but the registration table lady graciously explained that it was an exercise to meet people. You just make your way to a table that has a sign you like. The registration lady smiled. So if a table says, I love gardening, and you like gardening, stand at that table. I hated gardening, and I hated the idea of this game just as much. Is there a table for I don't want to be here? Mariah asked sarcastically, although I had to admit that table sounded better than the gardening table. There is, the lady nodded, pointing to a table a bit removed and in the corner. Mariah's mouth was wide open. Alison finally appeared, having battled off the security guards. They made an exception for me, Alison bragged. All I did was explain that I'm an officer of the law. You're not an officer of the law. We are registered with the state as licensed investigators and bounty hunters. Alison stressed the word and, as if having 2 licensures was evidence of our status as enforcers of the law, or that we were talented simply because we were doing 2 jobs. You're going to get in trouble, which means I'll get in trouble. And if that happens... Oh, hell no! Alison squawked, interrupting me and strutting ahead. Mariah and I both followed, a bit confused. Alison stepped up in front of a thin, Hispanic man and slapped the hell out of him. Mariah and I both flinched so hard we almost spilled our liquor, which would have been the bigger crime happening in that given moment. I can't believe you are here, Alison roared. Going to swindle another woman into thinking you care, only for you to mooch off of her? I cared about you, the man moaned. I'm sorry you didn't feel that way. Oh, trust me, you were a worthless slob who wanted a free ride, and you're not that sexy for a free ride. Alison was correct. The man's looks were far from sugar baby status. Alison, who is this scrubby man you just slapped? Mariah questioned. It's my ex-husband, Gamer. Gamer was a giant geek who loved playing video games and surfing the internet for all things video games. I guess Alison loved him even with his habits. They had gotten married quickly, but hadn't lived together till after the marriage. Not only had Gamer stuck her with the bills, but he had been a slob. I don't even know why Alison married him. She divorced him quicker than the Cleveland Browns cut a quarterback. My real name is Leroy Toronto. Leroy extended his hand, which neither Mariah nor I made an effort to shake. He's a tornado, is what he is, Alison snarled. A regular snake in the grass. Is he a tornado or a regular snake? I dryly followed up. And just a regular snake, not a cobra? I'd say anaconda, but he'd think I was talking about his dick. Alison glared once again, and Leroy winked as if to confirm he was packing heat. My eyes twitched. So what are you doing here, Leroy? Am I not allowed to find love? You are beneath love. Alison battered him verbally like a tempura vegetable. They should have a ban on men like you. Alison, I've changed. Leroy's voice cracked like a young child experiencing puberty. Suddenly, I was glad we had come out for this talking mixer. Alison was like an hippopotamus on a rampage. Yeah, you did change. You told me you had a job when we got married and moved in together. Then I found out you lied. I lied for love. How was I to tell a gorgeous, talented, multifaceted woman that I wasn't exactly what she needed? Alison was taken aback by the compliments. So were Mariah and I. I didn't have a problem with gorgeous, even though Alison looked like a giant marshmallow peep. But talented? Multifaceted? Maybe Gamer was still in love with Alison after all. Lied for love. Alison shook her head. You should have known better. I should have. Leroy grabbed Alison. How can I prove I am the man you deserve? You have a lot of proving. Alison was still shaking her head like she was sitting on a cheap airline experiencing turbulence. It'll take more than Cleveland Dating Week to prove yourself. I agree. Leroy nodded so fast it would have given someone vertigo. So, how have you been? Now that the drama was dying down, I was getting bored. Thankfully, Jonah showed up by grabbing my shoulder. There you are. I was hoping to get a text today, but I guess it didn't matter since I'm seeing you now. Jonah smiled. You know, we could skip the speaker. Really? You want to skip modern love? How it's becoming harder to find love? Now that you've said that title, I found it impossible to imagine skipping it. How about a drink afterward? I could do that. Maybe we can just grab a drink here, since it's part of the cost of admission. Admirable for your dedication to remain frugal. This week cost us way too much money. Might as well make every penny count. Jonah laughed, which made me feel comfortable. We chatted for a while until Jonah was pulled away by another match he had made the other day. I was a tad sour, but tried to act cool about it. Mariah could tell and slid over next to me. Relax, you should play the field too. I'm too tired to work the field. Oh, come on, Matty. Mariah rolled her eyes. Grab a drink. The speech is going to begin. We entered a giant conference room and sat in the back. Everyone was slowly filling the rows in front of us, and some Cleveland single-week people were clamoring for a chance to get in the front. Minutes later, there was a paltry overview of the rest of the week and an introduction for Dr. Hume. Dr. Hume was a relationship and sex therapist in her 50s with a short, close-cropped haircut and giant red-framed glasses. She looked like someone who would fight with conservative uncles at Thanksgiving. It's easy to blame ourselves, Dr. Hume bellowed. What is it about me? What's wrong with me? All right, keep it moving, Mariah snarled under her breath, clearly taking Dr. Hume's words a bit too personally. But it's not you. At least, not like that. These days we are recognizing that so many adults in the past lived lies. They stuck with people not out of love, but because of society. We are experiencing a truly romantic and sex-positive society, and that's scary. Personally, I was positive I wasn't getting any romance or sex in my society. Mariah had prompted skipping this event, and she had been right. As much as I wanted to leave, I knew that I couldn't prove Mariah right. So instead, I listened to Dr. Hume continue her speech until she finally whipped up the audience into a spectacle. I'm going to bring two people on stage. They were married years ago and soon divorced after their marriage. Before their marriage and divorce, they were happy and in love, but they didn't know each other as roommates, and we're going to put their love to the test. Perhaps they did have love and didn't know it. Perhaps they still love each other. Let's dive deep and find out. Please, welcome to the stage. That story sounds familiar, I mused. Is it? Alison and Leroy. Oh, it is. Mariah finished my question, while the room that must have featured 1,000 people filled with applause. Alison and Leroy strolled to the center of the stage, where 2 comfortable chairs were cushioned next to a seat that Dr. Hume had just taken. Alison waved as if she was Princess Diana, while Leroy looked just happy to be with Alison once again. The stage design looked like Dr. Phil, but instead of a proper set, had been sponsored and crafted out of supplies from Dollar Tree. Alison, Leroy, what happened? For someone with a doctoral degree, I was disappointed by the first question. Leroy was a bum, Alison explained, speaking loudly into her Britney Spears microphone that was inches away from her face. Her loud voice distorted the audio, making the entire room flinch. Even Dr. Hume momentarily looked uncomfortable before collecting herself. Thankfully, the audio mixer in the back of the room was quick to amend the volume on Alison's microphone. He didn't work. He just laid around all day. I got married thinking I was marrying a hard-working man. Leroy, did you lie to Alison? I wouldn't say lie. I would say I didn't tell the exact truth. Dr. Hume cocked her face to the left like an owl. All right. So I think it's fair to say that you misrepresented yourself. Absolutely, Leroy nodded. Dr. Hume swooped in for the kill. And you put on a version of yourself that wasn't true? For sure. So you lied to Alison. I don't know if I lied. Dr. Hume stared deadpan at Leroy, who didn't look sheepish. The room seemed to take a giant pause along with Dr. Hume, who decided it was for the best to press on. So let's see what you want in life. Do either of you want to be married in the next 3 years? I don't know about the next 3 years, Alison rebuked. I've been married twice, and I'm currently in my early 20s. Early 20s? Alison was 28 and older than Mariah and I, who were 26 and 25 respectively. Leroy jumped in. Same. I'd rather find love and have a healthy relationship right now than worry about marriage. That's healthy. Dr. Hume turned to face the audience. So often we think the key words are relationship and marriage, but neither of those words mean happiness or comfort or what we really need in life. Gosh, she sounds like a textbook. Oh. Mariah yawned. We should have skipped this. I like it, I lied, gritting through my teeth. How about children? Dr. Hume was prepared to hit them with her best shot. Another very important factor in whether or not you're compatible with someone is children. Maybe, Alison shrugged. I would make an excellent mother. Really? But it's fine. I have 3 decades or so to decide. 3 decades? Even Mariah, who had bored herself into a coma, revived herself at those outrageous claims. I thought about it. I was truly happy we came. Sure, the tables with centerpieces like I enjoy desserts had been rough, but this was entertainment worth paying for. Leroy made sure to grab Alison's hand for his next response. I feel the same way. Besides, before kids, I gotta fully and unconditionally love my woman. You feel me? Dr. Hume tried her best to look like she felt him, but she looked like she was trying to pass gas. The crowd answered periodically like a 1980s sitcom audience with standard ahs, ohs, ooh. Dr. Hume asked a few more questions, to which Alison and Leroy answered the same on. However, it was a definite scam, as Alison always answered first and Leroy answered afterwards, completely modeling his answer after Alison. It was like when a psychic waits to hear what you have to say and regurgitates it. Well, I've seen enough, Dr. Hume finally said, which made me agree. Alison and Leroy, I think it's time for you two to date again. The entire crowd watching did one giant oh as Alison and Leroy looked at Dr. Hume with surprise. You think? Alison looked like she had been offered a 400% salary increase. Dr. Hume's confidence was the type I wish I had. I do. At least date during this week. On Sunday, at the final brunch, we can see how you did. The final brunch? Were we in some kind of science fiction drama? Fine, Alison offered a non-committal shrug. I don't know if we are going to feel differently, but I trust you, Dr. Hume. It's Dr. Hume. That's what I said. Alison's voice had no apologetic emotion whatsoever. Alison and Leroy left the stage, and Dr. Hume continued giving her speech. I turned to Mariah with an amused smirk. That was shocking. I'm curious to see if Alison and Leroy make it. I give it 2 weeks tops. Mariah nudged her face to the south of the room. Jonah's returned. I casually turned to see Jonah making a beeline for me. I tried to act like I hadn't seen him, but you can add acting to my list of untalents. Can we get that drink now? Jonah sweetly wondered. I faced Mariah. You okay if I leave? Who says I'm not going to leave too? Mariah said, grabbing her coat.